What's up, y'all? How y'all doing today? Live right now. It's about to go down. Meeche's in the house. Like literally, Meeche's in the house. We got Mechee X in the house today. If you've been following me, you might know me, but you may be not familiar with Mechee. And I'm gonna make sure you get very familiar with her and all that she is about. This is a strong, dominant little pint-sized woman with a whole lot of mouth.
You guys gotta mention I'm pint-sized.
Pint-sized with a lot of mouth. Yeah, I know, like, and I think it's important, like, as you see a lot of men get featured, you know, all throughout the community. We have some women that are just completely ignored, disrespected, and I want to make sure that this queen here gets her due. So first and foremost, I wanted to make sure that if you're on this live right now, share this out to like 5 people, then comment done after you've done that. Every one of y'all on here, you know, y'all support me, right? So right now I want you to do your friends a favor because they're gonna get value out of being on this live today. So share it out to 5 people, then comment done once you've done that. I met Mechee on like one of the strangest and most unexpected ways. It was just on some support, some unexpected support that I met her, and I really think it's cool to see the level of support that a lot of people are offering in the community and definitely without expecting anything. And I think that's why I respect you so much, is that you came in and it wasn't for anything but like what you were thinking was what was right and wrong. Like you supported what was right, and the no refunds, no peace has been making a whole lot of noise in the last week. And we made a whole lot of noise last year, and we're gonna talk about the no refunds, no peace, and what's next with that shit, right? But I wanted to, you know, first and foremost, bring you here and say, first and foremost, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I asked Mechee to come and do an interview, and she made it happen. She brought a team. Mechee has really took a place in my heart, like as far as like a rider in the community, when a lot of times there's a lot of people that say they respect you and they support you. And before I ever met you, I met your support. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like no pint-sized support. You came in that mug, like you made me feel like I knew you forever, and it was like family, and it was like having I felt like I had my sister with me. Like I look back and I'm like, you was really supportive to a level that I had never seen from a complete stranger. And for that, like I always had like the utmost respect for you. And I know you have your own story, and a lot of people don't get to hear your story because you're a lady. They only ignore you, or they want to, you know, or it's like when there's some drama, that's when they want to, you know, come and see what's going on, but they never get the true painting of what you're about, who you are. And sometimes I tell people perspective is everything, like, because, you know, you might see something and make a judgment off somebody based off like them having to chin check somebody for being disrespectful. So somebody's first interaction with you might be seeing you having
in a fighting mode. I have a lot of those.
Yeah, like, and I'm like that, where I know like I'm gonna check somebody first. And if you come in where you're meeting me when I'm checking somebody, I might not be the most pleasant person. I might be disrespectful as hell, and that's a part of me. Like, and I know that, and I know that's how people. And I know that's how some people may have an unfair view of you. So I wanted to just kind of like let people get to meet you and get their own opinion without having all the other bullshit that's influencing it. So you're originally from Detroit, right?
Yes.
And what's the Meeche X about? Like, where does that stem from? The name itself.
My name is Michelle, so my nickname is Mechee. And the X actually came, I do spoken word. I used to, you know, a long time ago, I would go perform and things like that. And so I had a brother who was opening up. He asked me to open up for him. He was invited to be the feature for a spoken word event. And so I opened up for him. I did a poem, and he told the guy to introduce me as Meeche X. He was in the nation. And he gave me that because of the type of poetry that I did, right? It was very raw, in your face, revolutionary, just like everything else I do. It's about Black empowerment, all the things that we go through. You know, people do spoken word a lot, but you don't hear them in a spoken word doing pieces that say fuck the police. Like you hear Mamby Pamby spoken word, I got a piece called Fuck the Police, right? And so the guy on the mic was like, introducing to the stage, Mechee X. And it stuck. The audience, after I did my piece, like they gave me a standing ovation. You supposed to do this, you know, you go to them poetry nights. Instead, they was clapping and shit. And so after that, I got a lot of people who was like, yo, Mechee X, can you come and do our event? Will you know, be the main feature? And it just kind of stuck. So it really was a stage name that was given to me. You know, I get a lot of people who be like, oh, you just picked that name because you out here doing the movement and you out here and you pro-black and you fighting for the folks. Like, I didn't create that name. It was really given to me. Nicknames should be given to you.
So Meeche X, from my understanding of what I've seen, you have a very strong passion for like fighting for black rights, the community, and I've seen you be very, very vocal about police brutality. And then I've also witnessed like some other things like you checking people. But I want to ask you first and foremost, like the backstory of like who you are, like where are you from, like your upbringing. I want to kind of get a little bit about that first.
It's funny because I've come a long way. I would tell you this, I'm a girl from Detroit. I survived the streets of Detroit. I wouldn't say I was raised in them. I survived them, right? It's tough just like any other ghetto, you know, that anybody grows up in. I tell people often when they look at me and they see where I am, I don't mind to tell my real raw of what my story is, right? And that real raw of my story is this, is that I never went to high school, right? I ended up pregnant at 16 years old. However, I did go get a GED and went to college at 17, right? I've sold drugs, I've been in jail. But at the same time too, I've also been a pastor, right? I was married at one point for 12 years. I got 2 degrees and I've owned many businesses. So I've come a long way. I've been on both sides of how stuff is, right? And I've had my moments where I've slept in my car. But, you know, like I was telling you last night, I remember when I used to go with my mother to clean people's houses. And now every Monday somebody come clean my house. So I've been on the upside and the downside of both of them, right? But as far as where Meeche X comes from, the revolutionary Mechee that runs the black agenda, that does the things that I do in the community and tries to bring knowledge to the ways we're under attack and what we go through. That came from a whole lot of painful things in my life. Like my brother was murdered in a cell by the police and then they called it suicide, you know? So we talk about Sandra Bland and how everybody was upset, but I lived that in real life, you know? And I just felt like somebody gotta pay for this. Like, how do you just kill somebody's family member and just be like, oh, so what? Because they a nigga, you could just throw their life away. I remember thinking the best way to fix that was to go into the criminal justice system. So my first bachelor's degree is in criminal justice. I've never used it because after going to jail, I couldn't imagine sitting on the other side locking somebody up in that door. It just didn't sit right, right? And I didn't feel that being a corrections officer would have made a difference to treat people better than my brother was. When I began to understand, I would just be working for the system, right? One person can't go in there and make a difference. And then I have a child, my oldest son. He got caught up in the school to prison pipeline. I teach on that a lot. A lot of people don't really know what that looks like, you know, and how the public school is actually a funnel that takes our black children. There's a process that, you know, that we go through, and in that process is very much preparing your black children for prison, right? And so my son got caught up in that. And I actually was unaware of what it really was until I went through it, right? I was in the midst of actually studying it for my psychology paper at school. And so to see my son get caught up in it and just give you a crux, just a quick synopsis of what the prison pipeline is, it's where your black children are reprimanded way more than any other group of children, especially your boys, who, you know, they get written up a lot. And so now the criminal justice department are the disciplinaries for the schools. So when your kids do things, they'll write your kid a ticket and they gotta go to court. So what happens is when your child is pushed out of the school system because they're told they're not worth anything, they have a lack of motivation, the way that they're treated in the school system, always being in trouble over small things that they don't write up the white or non-black counterparts on. If you ever go out there and get in trouble as a juvenile, they use your school record now to justify why you should be tried as an adult. Okay, so these are facts. This is what they do to our children. And so then you have a child who should be in the juvenile system where they get counseling, they get help, they get all those things. They're gonna automatically try them as an adult. And something my son should have gotten maybe 4, 5 years for in juvenile at the most, right? He got 11 years and he had never done anything in his life and nobody got killed, nobody got hurt. And I watch people do very vicious things and get less time than that. And so They take your child at a most vulnerable time. Understand the mind is moldable and malleable when you're a child. And so when you socialize our children at their most vulnerable moments, like when you was a teenager, you was learning how to get your first job, how to have relationships, how to get out into life. They're socializing our children in a prison setting at the most valuable time that their minds should be learning society. So when they come out, they're conditioned in a prison society mind, right? And the whole goal is just to keep your children coming back to prison because they know nothing better. And the reason they do this is because they get paid for every body that is in that cell. And so they want to keep your child there. Trust me, this is modern day slavery. And so that's what the school to prison pipeline is. And I've had to suffer a whole lot of injustices that happen to Black people in this country in order for it to slap me awake, right? And to begin to understand what is really happening to us. And so out of all of those travesties and a deep depression for 2 years when they put my son in a hole just because he wanted to be transferred, didn't do anything wrong, but they wanted to hold on to him for the money. And when he couldn't leave that room, I couldn't leave my room, I felt guilty about it. And I sat there and I wrote the Black Agenda. So the Black Agenda was my solution to how we get around this, because I couldn't just sit here and just take it. You know what I'm saying? I had to do something. And so my thing was, how do we fix this? I can't change it for my child. It's too late. I can't bring my brother back, but they not the only ones. So how do we bring awareness to this, and how do we begin to change these things and fight back for all that's being done to us? So the Black Agenda and Meeche, what I've turned into over time versus my poetry, although all my shit is the same across the board. Like, this ain't what I do. This is who I am, right? If you listen to my poetry, it's talking about the same stuff. If you listen to my podcast, it's talking about the same stuff. If you come to the Black Agenda, it's all about the same stuff. The music that I make today is all about the same stuff. This is what I do across the board, right? But it was birthed out of my pain of watching this country fuck my family over because of racism. So Meeche morphed into something a little different when that happened.
So you're from Detroit, right?
Yes. West Side.
There's something about my ladies from Detroit. I rock with y'all. Like, it's something about the women from Detroit. Y'all okay with standing alone.
Yes.
And not just only standing alone, but standing proud in what you believe in, to the extent that it doesn't matter what anybody else's opinion is. And that's something that a lot of people in days like these where everybody's trying to fit in, like, I know those Detroit women, y'all got a different mindset, and y'all are hardcore and not intimidated, male or female, to step up on something that you feel like is improper. And I know you've had a variety of beefs. Like last week, I had my girl here last week, Angela Stanton. I see her in the comments over here, and I can't wait to, I'm gonna connect y'all. Can't wait to see that connection. You've had your share of beefs, and some of your beefs, I can't lie, when I watch, I can't do anything but laugh, because I'm like, yo, she don't back down, and she say the most disrespectful thing that can come to her mind. And it just reminds me first. And it reminds me of me, so I can appreciate it, right? Like, and more importantly, like, I know, like, you've had like a couple of main topics that have been like heavily discussed recently. And right now, Kwame Brown has, been making headlines with how he's been chin checking a lot of people, in general, whether it's been NBA players, now it's been someone that you've been, clashing with for some time, with it being Dr. Boyce Watkins. I see a lot of people, Tone Talks last night had a conversation, and everybody's now, really focused on what you've been saying for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
As I'm listening to you last night, and we're watching Tone Talks, and I'm listening to Tone Talks have a discussion with a guy who was basically saying that finally somebody's coming out and exposing Dr. Boyce Watkins. Yeah. And I watched your reaction, and you were so offended. Like,
and I love Tone.
Like, yeah, and it wasn't that Tone, it wasn't anybody else, but as this man was saying, finally, somebody is calling out Dr. Boyce Watkins, your reaction was like super offended. And I'm gonna be honest, that was the first time I could visualize seeing what women talk about when they say they're not respected and overlooked. And I'm sitting from the other side of the room and I'm like, oh shit. A lot of times as men, we naturally get a different level of respect. And sometimes you don't see it like clear. From the time I met you, we've had our own conversations behind closed doors where I've heard you discuss shit. I know what's been put out on the internet. And, like, many people call you a hater, or, try to, say some disparaging words or try to just make it, to where it's dismissed on why you're talking. Now, when Kwame or Tone or someone else now speaks on that same, topic, now it's given a stamp of credibility.
Yeah, because the men said it.
And I watched your reaction and it was like, damn.
I was angry. Because I've been saying this for forever.
But a lot of times, I don't even think people consciously make women.
Well, but you know what? I think it's when it offended them that they had something to say. Now they want to say something, right? That's what it happens.
Right.
I want to back up, if you don't mind. I want to say something in the beginning. I want to say shout out to Angela, right? And I want to say this publicly. I told you this. Because there were times where I was like, yo, I like her, but I hate her. Same thing you said to her, right? So if you watch it, hate this. But I have to say, it was one of those things when we talk about women, because we're going to get into that, how we get disregarded. A lot of us don't see enough sisterhood. And there were some things I disagree with in politics. Not necessarily even in politics, but just other things that she put up. And it was like, what is the stance on this, right? Because I don't really disagree with a lot of her political stances. I don't. But I know there was times I was like, no, people would be like, yo, when you and Angelina did get together, I'm like, nah, I ain't nothing like Angela. I ain't trying to fuck with her. But I want to take that back. And I want to take that back publicly, right? Because publicly I said I didn't want to have nothing to say to her. But I want to say that when I watched, regardless of the things that we disagree about, it ain't nothing that I think she ain't got no integrity and she ain't really about her people, right? But when they stepped over that line and was like fucking with her about her children and shit, and the way that they did her, that made me angry. And we talked about that, right? You sent it to me in the inbox. It's like, all right, we have our disagreements, but nah, you white folks, y'all don't get to come at her like this. And you people that's paid by these white folks to make black people look bad, y'all gonna back the fuck up off my sis. So no, that was the deciding factor for me that made me say any differences we have, we gonna push that shit to the side. So shout out to Angela, and people were like, oh, really? I thought Meeche wasn't feeling her. I wasn't. But you know what? If anything, I respect, like you said, she stand her ground. She's very genuine. And if she said it, she gonna stand in it. And that's all right, because I'm okay with agreeing to disagree. But I don't like fake motherfuckers, and she's not fake. So let me say that.
Respect to both of y'all. And I'll tell you, one thing we have to get to in life, like online and social media, it's okay to not have the same opinion or belief system, but we don't have to be disrespectful.
I have a problem people don't have integrity. To me, there's a difference. We can disagree.
I'm huge on integrity, and I'm huge on, we can have a difference of perspective, we can have a difference of opinion, but because you don't agree with me, I don't have to disrespect you.
Right.
And that's where I think a lot of people go wrong, is that if somebody doesn't personally share the same belief system, they feel like they got to disrespect you. They feel like you got to come at you with a way that, well, just disrespect. And I love both you and Angela, because what you say, you stand on it. It's a lot that, as a man in this community where I've seen grown men, they'll be playing both sides of the fence, and you don't even know what you can get one day from the next day. I know when I call you, I know what I'm getting. I know when I pick up the phone and I call Angela, I know what I'm getting.
It is what it is.
And that's something that you
Maybe.
can fucking respect. When I want straight up and down. I want black and white.
Right. Me too. Don't bullshit me. I'm too grown for that shit. I don't got time. I'm 42.
And she's pint size. Like Angela was damn near my size. You're pint size, but you still don't back down. You stand on what you believe. I want to let you know you got my support. And the way you supported me when I didn't even know who the fuck you were from anybody in the crowd, from that moment on, I told Tina and everybody else, I said, you will forever have my support.
I was standing with you because of what you were standing for. That's what we had in common. It was like, I don't have to know this man. I see what he's standing for. And I stand for what he's standing for right now, so I'm going to stand with him. But, so not to get us off topic, I just wanted to say that I feel like if I publicly said that I didn't fuck with Angela, I just needed to correct that and publicly say, I done changed my motherfucking mind, right?
And we got the right to do that.
Yes. So I want to say that, and make sure that as loud as you give a person a disregard or a disrespect, you got to make sure that you're correcting it is just as loud. When it comes to Dr. Watkins and that situation with how I felt last night, right? It's because as a woman, I've been saying for forever that Dr. Watkins is doing what he's doing, that I worked with him. I'm telling people behind the scenes, I know what he do. This is why I moved away from him. Like, he's on some bullshit. He's always playing people. He steals people intellectual property. He doesn't pay the women. He finds women that he feel are in desperate need and they want their platform to get bigger. So he'd be like, oh, well, just come on here and we'll promote you. But he's making money off of them the whole time. I mean, his integrity is just really low. Like, he came to my house when I was having a birthday party for my daughter. My mother was there. It was all kind of people there. There was a lot of wonderful moments. I have a friend who's a jazz singer. She sung. I mean, we had food. My mama cooked for everybody. He's taking footage and he waits for one moment when I get into an argument with a friend of mine over some race issues that lasted 5 minutes of the night, and he had been there 5 hours. He posted this without me knowing and said, this is what happens when woke folks argue because of the views. All of that black excellence in the room, and you chose to show that, Dr. Watkins? Like, he did it to get views, and he made me look bad. In my house, you did this?
So there was an argument that took place?
And it was really a debate. It just got heated. We were talking about race. But for all night, like I said, I got a black woman in there jazz singing to my daughter. It's her birthday. My mother done cooked food for every damn body. We having all kind of great conversation. You take the one moment where it get a little heated because we having this debate and we disagree, and you post the shit the next day for views. But you say that you want to show black people in a good light, but all you do is turn around and find the moments that aren't showing people in a good light. It's just showing people, black people, being ignorant, because that's what brings your views. So he is lying when he says that. He owes all kind of black women money, and he's lying when he says he loves black women. He uses the hell out of black women. He just fucked with the wrong one, right? So people say let it go. I'm not letting it go. I'm not letting it go, because he lying, he using people, and folks should know how he is. And I've been saying this forever, and I've brought receipts. I've showed text messages of how he's played me. I showed where he stole my domain name when we were supposed to be working together. I've showed all of this, and nobody has come and backed me up and said we got to cancel Dr. Watkins. But now that now that Kwame got something to say, and shout out to Kwame, but Dr. Watkins ain't really do shit to you, my nigga. Like, we got some alts for real. You know how many women is out here, you know what I'm saying, that got issues with Dr. Watkins and have said it loudly. But as soon as Kwame, like, you know, Dr. Watkins on some bullshit, let me break you down here in the go along, get along game, which he is. Kwame is telling the truth, you know, and Tone jumped on the back of that. Shout out to Tone. Like, much love to both of those brothers. And Tone went in on them last night. And then when you see this come out now, everybody's on YouTube piggybacking like, yeah, cancel Dr. Watkins, do this and do that. So where was the cancellation when he was fucking over all the black women in the community? Nobody had nothing to say on a great extent. But now that the men are saying it, now we should shut him down. So yes, I'm offended, because I felt like as a woman, I was told to shut up. I was told, for most people, I was being messy. I was told I should just take him to court and be quiet. Like, what about all of the other women, though, that don't have money to take him to court? Like, and take him to court for what? You know, just because he a piece of shit? I don't think you can take people to court for being a piece of shit. Like, I'm from Detroit. You handle that by just whooping their ass. I don't know about that scenario they talking about. That's not the one I'm used to. Like, so at the end of the day, it was offensive, because it's like, wow. So I showed all these receipts. I've been saying this shit for 2 years. Y'all keep telling me to be quiet, but as soon as the men say something, now we got to shut them down. That was offensive to me. It really was.
I didn't realize what it looked like until when you see it in your face, it comes a little bit different. And watching your reaction, I was like, oh, wow.
I know you was on your phone. You looked up when I was like, the fuck?
Yeah, I was like, oh, shit. When we start talking about, like, you know, your business dealings with Dr. Watkins, and it seems like I want to just break that down in a little bit more detail, because you're making some statements that he stole domains, and you're using very, like, straightforward, harsh words, like direct words. Like, when you make statements of that nature of somebody stolen a domain or mistreating women, I want to give you a little bit of a chance to kind of break down and elaborate on that, you know, just because people want to know. Once you start saying that shit, you use words like stolen and taking advantage of women, you know.
And see, so when I say receipts, if there's anybody in the audience, I sent it out to some people too that are my people, they'll verify this. So like, when he stole my domain, we were working together. He asked me, so what's the future? What you feel like you want to do for yourself? I said, I'm going to go set up my website. You know, I'm going to make some videos with my spoken word. I'm working on a book. I got some things I'm doing for me. So a week later, I go to set up my site, and my domain is bought, and it's bought by him. So I showed text messages where I hit him up and was like, yo, why did you take my domain? And he was like, I didn't take your domain. And then his manager, right, Miss Martinez, okay, she went and looked it up. I have text messages I've shown from her. This is his manager. She was like, Dr. Boyce did buy it. That's fucked up. And when you're ready, I'll give it back to you. So then he tells me, oh, Meechee, I'm sorry. I must have bought it trying to protect you, so wouldn't nobody buy your shit, because I knew you was rising to the top, and I forgot I bought it. I have all these text messages. I've shown them to everybody. 2 years ago, you could type in my domain, and it will go to Fly Nubian Queen, which is his network. So the proof was there. People saw it left and right. So he's holding on to it, but all of these have been seen. When I say that he owes women money, there are videos. It's not just me. These women have come forward. I share their videos because their platforms are not as big as mine. that have said, Dr. Watkins owed me this kind of money. I actually spoke directly to his accountant on the phone. She would not email me because she said that Dr. Watkins told her when he don't have the money to pay people, just don't respond, because if she responds in writing, they'll have something later to use against them. So she would not discuss it in an email, right? I have text messages that shows that Dr. Watkins went behind my back when I paid David Banner to be on tour with us for Black Agenda. And he went behind my back when he knew we was finna have an interview with him, and he asked him to come on his show first. And then he hit me up like, oh, Mechee, I didn't know. Like, I planned this months ago. Like, he's full of shit. These women have come forward and said that he'd owe them money. Like, the women are there. The women are there and can come and say that. Yvette Cardinal, now you talk about tone talks. Go watch Yvette's video. Yvette worked with him many years ago. He did the same thing to her. I have a friend right now. Brother broke down. He a man, but he fits in that same psychological category. He's hurting. He ain't really got no money. And he don't pay that man nothing. And that man writes all of his articles for Your Black World. So he uses people all the time. And then he claims that he loves them. He looks for black women he think he can take advantage of. He steals people's intellectual property. All of these people out here, he has public lawsuits against him right now. This man was laying down in the bed with a woman, supposed to be his girlfriend. They put that black business boot camp together. It was her idea. She left her 6-figure job to invest with this man, and he took the money and started rerouting it to another avenue so he could tell her they weren't making as many sales as they were. He stole from a chick he was laying down next to. Now, I'm not alleging nothing because this is public record. She is being sued for $10 million. Go look it up. So see, I'm not saying allegedly on nothing because I got receipts for everything I said, right? So Dr. Watkins is a piece of shit, okay? I know y'all been hearing me for 2 years and I've been petty for saying it, but maybe y'all will hear me now. He is not good for the black community. He's only about making money. Mr. Wu, the Asian man, already aired him out and said that they be marketing to sell people these products, and his target is the black community. And he wants to push this finance thing like it's a religion because people believe in religion. So they want to think he's the answer. And the whole time he's filling his pockets, he's buying new teeth, he getting married, and he can't even pay nobody they $250 you owe them for building your platform? Man, bye.
Did you say you're getting new teeth?
Yeah, he got new teeth. It took him a couple months to learn to get used. He still looks stupid with them. Look like Mr. Ed with them big ass teeth in his mouth. But yeah, he paid a pretty penny for them damn teeth. He ain't got to overbite no more. I just don't understand how you got money for that. And you wasn't owing these sisters much. Like, you owe them like $250 a month. You can't get them they $250, but you a millionaire. All right. Either you real selfish or you real broke and you be lying. One or the other. Any other questions about Dr. Watkins?
Anything else that you guys want to ask Mechee?
About Dr. Watkins.
What is your main beef with him though? Like, if you had to say, like,
my personal beef?
Yeah,
okay.
What's the personal beef with Dr. Boyce, and how do you correct it? Because at the end of the day, you know, I would like to think that all shit can be resolved.
I need you to stop thinking that. Can your shit be resolved?
I think all issues can be resolved. I think if Jay came to me,
how you resolve?
If Jay came to me and made me whole and apologized publicly, I would consider it. But that's how I operate. Like, I do believe situations can be rectified. I know you got a lot of animosity, rightfully so. Like, I think anybody that has been done wrong by anybody, nobody can tell them how upset or how they should feel or whatever handling their business.
Well, they continue to mess with me, so there's no resolve for me. So see, I didn't tell that part. Like, he have women that work on his platform. When I am doing my tour, they be calling people behind the scenes that I'm trying to work with that are doing work in the community and be like, don't work with her. And they try and throw dirt on my name. Like, I'm really out here doing something. You're not doing shit for the community, but you're trying to stop what I'm doing. So for me, I guess it's gone past personal, because even if I was to drop it, what about all the people that's gonna come after me that don't know the type of shyster he is, and he gonna fuck them women over too, right? My issue here is my domain name, right, that he personally took from me. If he give it back to me now, it's all right. He can't do nothing with it because my name is trademarked. I wish he would. So he can't do anything with it, but the damage that he did, I don't know how you rectify it, because he's gone online and told people I got all of these, oh, she's emotional, these issues. He tried to downplay it. He lied and said I was having relationships with a certain man. I wasn't, just to make me look bad because everybody likes this man, right? That stuff has already been put out there to try and save face for himself. Like I said, he sabotaged my interview with David Banner. He's done things to try to stop me from continuing to grow. That's the reason why he bought my domain name in the first place, because he figured she gonna rise to the top, and I'm gonna always want to own a piece of her. Do you see what I'm saying?
I think that's fucked up. Let me cut you off.
He can't go back and change that.
Let me cut that off. I think it's fucked up to go buy somebody's fucking name.
When I'm working with you and I told you I'm about to go do it.
because you want to try to hold over something over their head. I think just like if you say you about people and you got a good heart, like I'm not gonna go and buy, like me and you talk about a business idea or you tell me a great idea, I'm not gonna try to jump ahead of you and go capture that, so you gotta come through me.
That's what he do to everybody, though.
Like that shit's fucked up. Like I just think that's greedy. That shows a lack of integrity. You know, if that's true, man, you should be giving that fucking domain up, boys. Like, come on, bro.
I got another up.
Like,
You need to get beat up,
like,
you know. But he didn't say that. I did.
I ain't even gonna talk. Like, fuck all of like the threatening and all that dumb shit. Like, man, if you a grown ass man, you know this woman is trying to use her fucking name. Give her fucking domain back, bro. That's like, y'all niggas be crazy with this shit. Y'all be loving talking black empowerment and all this shit, and then you get out here and do some super grimy, goofy shit. Like, I can, like that's the shit that like make niggas not even respect y'all. Like, how the fuck you go take somebody like shit where they can't even use their fucking name? Like, dog, like give her a fucking domain back. Y'all motherfuckers really be trifling as a motherfucker. Like, if your name ain't Meeche X, bruh, why the fuck do you own a Meeche X fucking domain? Like, what type of bitch ass shit is that? Like, I can't understand like what be wrong with people where you gonna try to go and bully some shit like that because you done got to it first. Like, this ain't the sneaker line, man. That's her fucking name that she's using to promote and make money.
But look, he stole it while I was working for him. I built his platform. Nigga, I'm making you money. Why are you taking my name?
I don't even give a fuck about what the involvement and engagement is. If you and I are working together, you know me or whatever, you should never go try to go make some Tony the Closer shit to try to jump ahead of me.
Right.
Like, that's some bitch ass shit. Like, yo, what are you thinking to try to take my name and go make, like, where you gonna corner the market with my shit?
He was.
Like, give
he was
this woman her
redirecting
shit
all my
back,
traffic
man.
to him, right?
Give this woman her shit back, man. That's some foul fucking shit, man.
If he do give it back, then that's him admitting he took it and he was wrong. That's something he not gonna do.
If you're saying that factually he has it, like, he needs to give that shit back. Like, point blank, you say you got facts on that, you got receipts on it. She said she got receipts, and if she got receipts on that, bro, you gotta get that back.
Yeah,
That's
on my page right now.
You gotta get that back. That's first and foremost. Then you gotta fucking apologize. Like, we all talking about the basics in our community right now is respect. Like, we don't have to agree with each other, but we gotta respect each other. And there's no way that you can go and try to do the shit that some of these guys are doing and say that they're truly about the community and about black people. Like, I watch people take money, intellectual property, and just disrespect people's hard work, time. Like, this shit means shit to people. Like, you know, to build up a name, to build up a brand behind something, it takes time, it takes years. It takes all the abuse that you got to go through, all the people naysaying. You want your brand, you want your name, you want your domain, and you should have it.
Yeah, my website is The Real Meeche X, because I can't just be Meeche X.
That should be released immediately. Next topic, right? I've heard
somebody gonna tag Dr. Watkins in this. He's the real Boyce Watkins. Come over to the
I've heard that you've had several domains. You make a lot of money with domains. Give this woman her domain. Like, go ahead about your business. Now, there's been another hot little beef that you got going on. You just got beefs everywhere. Like, just like I told Angela, I can't keep up with all y'all shit because it be like y'all, every time I look up, somebody got something going on and I got my own shit going on. So I be trying to mind my damn business. I always tell people I mind my business, but I'm gonna support these black women. Like, one thing for shit show, I'm gonna make sure y'all know like y'all ain't on your own. That's why I'm letting you leverage off my platform right now so we know what's up. And I wanted to make sure we stop this bitch assness and bullying of women because y'all think y'all can just do that shit. Like, it's a lot of men that think that they can literally just continue to bully and use their platforms to bully because they just think they can do it. So what's this other situation that we were just talking about?
Oh God, I don't even want to say his name because he's just trying to clout chase.
We're not gonna say the name, but we just want to talk about the situation.
There's another person out there right now who is accusing me of they telling people they charging folks money to come to the site to see these receipts that they don't have, but they trying to make people believe that I'm stealing money from donations that I get when I ain't took up no donations.
So
donations
let me ask you. So are you stealing money?
Absolutely not. The community ain't even gave me no money.
You
That's
know
the funny part.
Now, you know I be on my no refunds, no peace
Right.
shit. You know I'm Mr. No Refund, and I'd hate to have to come at your front door and meet you.
Right. How would I look like standing for somebody that stole money and I'm stealing money?
They're saying that you're stealing money.
Yeah. They said that I took money from them, and they're telling people that they shouldn't give me. They're trying to get people to believe they shouldn't donate to me because I'm using the money to give to other things that are personal things.
Why is it always in the black community? Niggas always gotta be worried about stealing and all this unethical shit. Is there no clear tracking and, things of that nature like where people can have like accounting?
In my audience, they'll tell you there's not a person that can raise their hand and be like, yo, we gave Mechee money over a year. So I don't know what he's talking about. I haven't done the Black Agenda because of Corona. And even when I do, I never ask for donations. We sell tickets, and after we pay for the event, we don't want to come out of our pocket for the airfare, our team. My team makes no money off the Black Agenda. I make money other ways. I don't sell the answers and our solutions to our oppression to our people. I don't do that, right? So we're not going to come out of our pocket to go to these cities. So once we get enough to pay for that, guess what? We open the rest of the tickets for donations. You could come in and give me a penny, right? And we take that money to go to the next city. And this is how the Black Agenda has always been run. But I haven't done anything in over a year with the Black Agenda. So there's been no money coming in. Like, I don't have a donate to us. I don't ask for money. I've never verbally said give us donations. So, I mean, to me, it's just a ridiculous thing, but you got people who want to throw that kind of dirt on my name, and you can say a lot of stuff about me, but what you don't get to do is tell people I'm stealing money from the people, and then say you have receipts for it, and then make people pay $10 to go to a website. And for all the people who won't pay to go to the website, people are like, well, he say he got receipts. Maybe she really is. You don't get to taint my name like that. You can say anything you want about me, but you're not going to say that. You're trying to fuck up my movement.
He created a paywall.
Yeah.
And
we paid for that paywall. I got people, where's your receipts? Y'all just in there talking mess. I'm tired of these old low-level ass YouTubers who want to clout chase. People say, oh, you clout chasing. I am the clout. I don't fucking put nobody's name in my titles. I am the clout. And people go through great extents to do this. And he just want notoriety. And you can say whatever you want, but you're not going to try and tarnish my movement and call me a thief. I don't steal from the people. I give too much to the damn people like you for you to tell me that I take from the people. It's folks that I won't publicly say nothing, but they know. I done paid their rent. I done taught them how to make money for free and ain't charged them shit for no consultations. I done gave them money to put up their websites because I just want to see my people succeed. People come to me and be like, yo, you got payment plans for your class? And it's just me. And because I'm on welfare. You on welfare? Well, keep the money you got to put up your site. I'll let you in the class for free. I give too much to the people for you to tell people I'm stealing from them? Nah. That's the lie. You can say anything else, but that's the shit right there. You're going to have to shut that up. So anyway, long story short, he being sued. So keep on talking if you want to, because you can say a lot, but you can't slander my name in that way. Say whatever you want, but don't say that.
So you got this full attack on you right now as far as exposing what they're saying is emails and documents that would prove that you're scamming. First off, I hope that shit doesn't come out where you got no bullshit going on.
You know what? I can't believe you even said that shit.
I'm going to always be like, hey, look, I trust but verify. I ain't look. So Mechee, my girl, and I think you got hella integrity, but goddamn, people be out there telling me they got paywalls. The paywall already make me think it's fake. Like when I hear paywall, I automatically think now people trying to because what he's saying is not true. Like I said, my people know that we haven't done it. There's been no money, and I'm not a broke motherfucker. So why would I need to steal? Do you know that when you do nonprofit work, we don't make shit off the community? Let that be said. Mechee not a broke motherfucker. I got my own money, so I could spend 10 G's, 20 G's, 100 G's on whatever the hell I want. Why would I steal y'all donations? I have money. Hey, look, they had to laugh too because you gotta have that moment where you gotta be like, well, you got niggas. I be out here riding for people. I done co-signed on a couple people, and I be like,
I be feeling the same way. They tell me that I'm faking all of my connections because I fall out with people. This be my
face, y'all. I've been co-signed on somebody, and I done seen some bullshit. I'm like,
you ain't the only one, and I be feeling like, damn. They gonna be like, yeah, what you got to say about your homeboy? He on some bullshit. I guess he on some bullshit. I don't know.
You done co-signed off on some bullshit, right?
I understand.
For my people that's joining in, I'm sitting down with Mechee X. I got a lot of respect for you. Your tenacity when it comes to what you believe in is so fucking dope. Listen, y'all, I literally never met this woman a day in my life. August 20th of 2020. Last year, I'm having a protest in Georgia at the Black House against Jay Morrison and the No Refunds, No Peace movement that created, which I'll talk about a little bit more in detail in a few minutes. And as I get to the actual protest, I'm approached by this little pint-sized, little light-skinned woman, and there was a couple camera people behind her, and she was just like, I'm gonna be here. I just want to show you some love and support, and I'll let you know I got you. And anything you need. So she comes in and she starts asking me a few questions, and before you know it, she's sitting side by side with me, and then I think within 15 to 20 minutes, she turned into Tupac. And she was the most gangster motherfucker I ever seen in my life that could speak so eloquently but curse you out like the most gangster motherfucking shit I ever seen in my life. And when I seen this shit, y'all, when I seen the transformation from how she came when she was the nice little young pint-sized little lady when she first said hello, to she switched that joint and turned on to, first off, fuck your bitch in the click. Like,
right.
When she switched over, I was like, oh shit, she's a rider, yo. I just want to tell you, that was the most amazing feeling to come into that protest. I had so much, uncertainty from so many avenues of like levels of support, who was coming. We had COVID going on, and I know a lot of other people that couldn't come or didn't come, chose not to come, whatever it might have been, but you were there. And not only were you there, but you were probably one of the most supportive people I've ever felt in my life. I'm talking about felt in my life that was a complete stranger. And when I tell y'all, Meechee held it the fuck down, listen, she held it down on a level I had never witnessed from a complete stranger in my life. And she was coming from a place of what was right. And we heard story after story of people who had came and believed in somebody that was selling black hope.
And that's what turned the Tupac on. They kept telling their stories.
It all came based off selling black hope and talking about black trauma. And this is what triggered, a reaction from me a few weeks ago with the post where people were comparing themselves to Black Wall Street.
Or the Tulsa or whatever.
The Tulsa deal. I think it's very, very important for people to understand something. Our community is very, very delicate. We have a lot of people that are very, very, very new at finances. We have a lot of people that just really are ignorant to financial literacy. So it's very, very easy to sell and mislead people on hopes and dreams. And the easiest way to do that is what most people are going to get caught on, is trauma.
Yeah.
Like, black trauma is something that people have pushed and leveraged for years on years on years. When you and I were at the protest, once again, you see people that were all speaking on the hope that they believed in somebody that had said that this imagery of creating this black thing, like this movement of black people together, they believed that this person was going to lead us. And I think everybody's looking for a leader. Everybody's looking for somebody that they believe can guide us to the promised land, right? But a lot of people are coming like wolves in sheep's clothing. And, disguising like their get rich quick schemes and ways to get, wealthy off the community without having good intention. And I don't have a problem with people making money. I think everybody, if you got something that teaches people how to do something, like, there's no reason that you can't monetize it. I think there's also a level of integrity that's involved when making money. I think there's a level of integrity that's involved when you have a brand that the community respects. And a lot of times these guys are now getting, a brand, and then they forget the level of responsibility that comes along with it. They get the money, but they forget about the delivery.
Right.
Because once they get that money in-house, now they're only focused on how can I make myself look like I'm the shit, and I'm now shitting on the people that helped me get to where I am now. And I think that's a critical error that I see a lot of people make. And then I see a lot of people that share this big-ass dream of like, oh, we can do this together, but they're only doing it with the hopes of fattening their pocket.
Yeah.
And we just looked at this Tulsa real estate shit, right? We went to this protest, we go to the Black House, and we're hearing all these different stories. And I just want to go from your perspective, right? Because I know where I came from and why I was at the protest. But I want to ask you a couple questions about like what triggered trip to even come to Georgia. Secondly, like, as you heard the stories, I saw how you got more and more angry. I saw your temperature go from like you were mildly upset to you were damn near irate. I want you to kind of talk about some of like what your perception was, what you got from being at the protest, even before we get to talking about the setup and what they had there. I just want to talk about the actual victim stories and what you were hearing and witnessing from that aspect.
And going out there, I had been following your story, right? And so we knew that you were going to be there at the protest. And so we said, well, let's go and cover this. A friend of mine, he wanted to cover it on his channel. He was like, but I want you to go cover it. I'm just a camera person. I'm like, sure, I'm already in, I just moved to Georgia. And I told him I definitely wanted to do it because I had been watching the story of what was going on. Jay pissed me off the first time he tried to tell black people about being swaggy, rich. And his attitude was just very disregarding. And then he wanted to come in and say he was going to do some type of day that we come together and agree to something. Like, brother, shut up and stick to whatever it is you're doing. So his arrogance used to be like, what? And then all of these stories started coming out and I was listening to you. But when I came there and I watched them people pull up, like they were just regular people. You know what I'm saying? Somebody like my auntie, you know what I'm saying? Somebody uncle over here, it's gonna be my mama. You know, just regular people. And they started talking about how they gave him money, or even, everybody thinks, oh, it's just, you know, like the Tulsa Fund. There were people who like gave him a lot of money for like mentorship, and he was supposed to like walk them through stuff, I guess, thousands of dollars, and never ended up doing those things as well. People taking out their life savings. And we looking at Corona going on. We know that it's gonna affect our community more than anybody else, you know what I'm saying? When people are not able to have money and when stuff first start falling down, we're always the community that gets the brunt of it the worst. And so to listen to those people and watch him, as I'm watching him tell their story about how they struggling and how they hurting from how they invested in him and how he won't even return their phone calls, right? Some people was like, yo, well, you know, they invested or whatever, like why they mad, they gotta wait for a turnaround. Okay, but how about if they've invested, why they emailing and why they calling and you ain't answered it or responded to them in 6, 7, 8, 9 months? You ain't got nothing to say, you know, but you done took their money. So all of that began to make me angry when I was hearing these stories of just people who really put their hope in what this man was saying. But I don't blame them because that's what he was selling them was hope. He was selling them false hope. And they was buying it, right? And to see the situations that left them in, but he walking around here swaggy rich, popping his collar and shit, and him and his girl talking all of this stuff and walking around being fly off of everybody else being broke. And you don't even know the situations you've put people in from whether they could pay their bills. Now Corona done hit and you ain't even responded to nobody. So
I'm gonna cut you off because I do want to ask you something. Mm-hmm. So I just heard you mention about how they're getting all fly and, you know, all right, let me ask y'all, everybody, a question, right? Somebody owe you money.
I know what you're about to say.
Somebody owe you some motherfucking money. And you see them out there shopping and spending motherfucking money and having a good old time and living it up. How that make you feel? When you see somebody that owe you fucking money and they just out here, they in the designer store, they buying Fendi, they buying Dior, they at the fight, and they ain't paid you the money that they owe you.
Because they done took that $13 million to become a superstar. That's what they want to do. They want to rub elbows with the right people, wear the right clothes, because they just want to be somebody. Especially his B-list actress wife. Oh, I ain't seen you in shit in forever, girl. But anyway. I mean, when you see that, it would make me mad too. And that's what I'm saying. How do you think all of them people that was telling us their story at the protest felt while he's steady online talking about he's swaggy, rich, and I do this in real life? Well, what you was doing before you got all this money from the people? Can we talk about that life, brother? Because I've heard a lot of those stories too, you know? But yeah, it pissed me off. And like you said, we don't want to talk about that just yet. I'll let you lead into it. But what really, really made me mad was the display that took place with the police and the way he had stuff. But just watching him do what he did to the folks. I'm about my people in the black community, and I have no desire to hurt them or harm them. And it makes me angry because I spend my time all the time trying to make us aware of how we are taken advantage of and still enslaved today by white supremacy. But let's use another word. It's called the government, right? The government actually does this stuff to us. This is where this systematic stuff comes from. And then it bothers me when I find black folks that come into the community and they're a weapon against us, right? Like we do enough fighting. And the thing that pisses me off about black people that do this to us is that we don't even realize you're a weapon because we give you a pass because of your color. We only know that you done fucked us over once you've done what you've done. That's how we know. Because we don't know how to decipher you from the enemy based on how you look. We think you family, right? We all black. And then you come and take advantage and it's like, damn, the white man ain't got to do shit to us or the government, right? Look at how you doing us. So that was what was really offensive to me. You know what I'm saying? I think our people go through enough. I get tired of seeing us taking advantage of us. The fuck?
From what I gathered, when I really been, having these conversations, there's so many people that reached out to me with victim complaints. I mean,
and you was putting them up there. I was looking
at literal hundreds of emails. I have conversations, all these different complaints, right? And the thing that really bothers me the most is that you'll hear somebody that could be like your grandmother who literally express, this was somebody that I trusted in to really help and lead us to another level of generational wealth. And that's a very, very sensitive topic, right? Black wealth has always been, you know, at the smallest percentage of all races, right?
Absolutely.
And right now, we're in a position where, with, you know, whether it be cryptocurrency, stocks, whatever, people are able to make money at rates that we've never been able to in years past. People are creating businesses at levels that we've never seen before. We've seen all these things take off to levels where the black dollar is more influential, it's more powerful than it's ever been before. And you can't afford to have money mismanaged that could go towards truly moving the culture forward. And when you collect $10+ million, I'm not sure, I've heard 13, 14, I'm not sure of the exact amount. When you start getting that amount of money, if used properly, could make significant gains on just huge parts of life. Definitely when you're like talking real estate in areas of like Georgia where, you know, there's towns that can be purchased, where you can really start doing some of the stuff that has been preached, right? Because the marketing behind this whole movement,
we was gonna build something for black people again.
We're gonna build this black people thing, not we're gonna build like a black movie theater station
for his B-list actress wife so that she can have her own studio.
So now it's like becoming like we're premiering movies and all this other stuff, but yet that's not even creating money, that's not creating wealth. And more importantly, the things that were sold to people, like the 8% preferred returns and all these different things, they haven't come to fruit, and we're blaming it's Corona's fault and all these different things, but yet behind the scenes, you hear all this riffraff. You hear employees saying, you know, that they're not being paid. You're hearing employees saying that like they're being mismanaged, disrespected, money's being misused. And then I look online and I'm seeing you spending money looking like you're rich. You know, doing all the things that will be counterproductive to somebody that's really trying to take and grow real estate.
Right.
Then in the middle of us doing this whole no refunds, no peace deal, we look up and we find out that he's actually purchasing his first piece of real estate during the pandemic. So you've been proclaiming that you're a real estate mogul. You've been proclaiming that you've been doing all these different things. And now your wife, your name's not even on a loan, is now getting the first property. And you're a real estate investor, which if you really want to get into going deeper, he bought a fix and flip property that he had to go and do work on and use a realtor.
Yeah, because the painters were there.
Yeah, because we seen all that. We went there, so this was like...
That shit was funny.
If you're teaching people these real estate strategies, you would know, like, first and foremost, you wouldn't want to use a realtor if you're going to have to go do a project like that in the first place. You want to go find that off market so you can save that 6 or 7% and you can actually keep that money on the back end. But he was operating from a place of like a novice or somebody that didn't know what the hell he was doing. But then the fund also is reflective of just that. And I think when we start talking about what's truly happened is Jay leveraged social media to scam the black community. He leveraged black trauma. He leveraged Malcolm X's name in disrespect, calling himself Young Malcolm.
And he was from Detroit. Detroit Red, we knew would have slapped your ass.
Yeah, like, you know, and I can go deeper on this shit because
marketing to just put him in. It
was all a marketing ploy in order to misuse black dollars. And then just as of yesterday, I had somebody send me a DM where him and his wife are out luxury shopping again. When you're sending out people checks of $12 to $17 when they made an investment to you 2.5 to 3 years ago, and you haven't delivered on what you said that you were going to deliver on, how in the fuck can you be out here making those type of purchases? And if you are making those purchases, why the fuck are you posting that when there's people that are losing money and looking for money? Now, if you want to talk about disrespectful, I want to just really think about unpacking that. Like, now you got hundreds of people that have been blocked. You got people that have been denied refunds. You got people that have really said that during these times they could have used their investment money to do something else, and they're getting ignored. Yet on the other end, you see luxury spending, you see going to fights, you see all these different things that aren't conducive to somebody that's helping them build their money and wealth.
He's hoping people don't know his backstory. See, he done messed up with so many people. He got to show that side so he can reel in those new people. That's why it's important that you keep doing what you're doing, because new people need to know what they getting involved with. Because see, this is the thing about the internet. It's so many people on the internet. They even know all these people know this truth about this man. That's why he got that little punk ass ad. We know you pay like 3 G's. Those of us that's out here doing this work online, we know what you paid. Let them see you. You pay G's to be up there popping in your
multiple blogs with
he
that
done
right
spent $10,000 for y'all to see him in his little African attire, because that ain't nothing but getting new people to be like, yo, he must know what he doing. Look at all the money he got. Look at how he shopping. Look how he live. So he ain't worried about those he done played. He trying to get the new people that have no idea who he is. And on the internet, unfortunately, that's possible. If you block all of the naysayers, the new people on your platform won't know what the hell is going on. That's why you got to keep speaking. Right.
And that's exactly why I'm bringing so much awareness to what this guy has been doing. Let's talk about like the next thing that really was like really crazy. We were sitting at the protest.
You started teaching for free. He got mad.
I did the free education piece, and that obviously pissed him off. Like where I started teaching out there. But as we go just to approach the gate, just so you guys have like an understanding, like there's a building in the middle of the hood, the Black House, and at this place, you would have really thought that there was White House type security for a protest of people that had spent money with a dude that didn't deliver and wouldn't answer the phone and wouldn't answer emails. So we thought that we would just come right to the front and you would at least come and address us. Because at the bare minimum, right, if you know that, like I know if you come to my front door, I'm gonna at least come outside and see what you want.
They don't want you to come outside.
But he wouldn't even come outside.
No.
He wouldn't come out and address, the fact that like, hey, there's investors, there's people that you've had business dealings with that have spent their money with you. We want to talk to you and see what's going on, because obviously your phone must be broke, your email exchange don't work. We want to go face to face and see if we can figure this out, because online there's a lot of disconnect. We can't make that make sense. So like if we come face to face, maybe we can handle this, right? So we get there and we see like he's got police all over the place. He's got like all the East Point Atlanta police all over the outside of the building. There's people sitting on the top of the building that got AR. So he's got like fake snipers with dogs. Like he's got dogs. Like I just want to be mindful of, this is the same guy that cursed out the manager at Houston's and then tried to shut Houston's down because they wouldn't allow him in because he was acting a fool. So he's okay with doing protests. But once they come towards him, now he got to call the police. Yes. So like when you be talking about like how people will, they be on this, oh, I'm for the people, I'm about the people, but let me go get those same people that cause the most harm to us and put them in front of this building because my people want to come and ask questions about where's the money, where's the accountability, where's the transparency, where's all the things that you said that you were going to deliver that we can't see at this point. Because like until the SEC reports came out, people didn't even know anything about the fund. As a matter of fact, at that point, there wasn't even a talk about giving back dividend checks. Dividend day never even came. Remember, there was this whole dividend day talk, and then dividend day came and went by and nothing happened. So until I actually started exposing that there were so many victims and that there were so many people that had been taken advantage of on levels of business, employees, ex-girlfriends, ex-wives, everybody that I spoke to all had a similar story. Like, it's like, hey, you trusting somebody and they take advantage of you and then they try to paint the picture that you're crazy. That was the whole thing, like even how he tried to paint the business dealing with me.
I hated the way he came on your live that one day and I was watching and you called him out and he was like, why you being aggressive, King? Like all that passive aggressive shit, because you sitting up here lying in my face and I just showed you was lying and you still gonna try and deflect like my eyes didn't show me what we just saw. I hate when people do that. I play this, I'm calm, but really, I have a right to be angry and you gonna act like something wrong with me being angry. Like, stop lying to my face. You wouldn't do this in my face for real, because it would be a problem, But I would say, let me say what bothered me the most about the security he had. I've been to protests, okay? I've been to protests in the street where the police come with the rubber bullets and the tear gas and they want everybody to go home and shit. And they got the bullhorns and they got curfews. I have been to plenty of those, okay? I have never been greeted with dogs. Okay, that was some civil rights shit that we don't deal with today. You are not out at protest being greeted by dogs. We don't do that anymore. And so the folks that come for us when it comes to all of this protesting we do in the streets, they don't even come at us in that manner no more. We come to your place for a protest. You have snipers on the roof? Is you finna snipe a nigga off? You have dogs? Are you finna release those dogs on us? Like, just the image of that, the imagery of that, that's when it set me off, right? Because I just haven't been met with that kind of force and disrespect, not even from the white man in today, okay? And so I don't understand how you for the black people, but you, and then Ernestine, that bitch, y'all don't want Tony to call her one, let me call her one, okay? Because Dr. Watkins punk ass gave her my phone number. Okay? I ain't asked you to give her my phone number. I should post both y'all phone number. Y'all call them motherfuckers. Y'all want to talk to them? Put that shit on my page. You gave her my phone number. She called me talking about, well, Queen, bitch, don't try that actress shit on me, okay? I ain't got time for it. I already see it a million miles away coming. But she tells me that when we came up there, that the doors were open, that they were in there, and that anybody who was an investor, they weren't gonna let anybody else in, but anybody who was an investor, they were more than welcome to come into the building and sit down and have a conversation with them if you were an investor. And I simply said to Ernestine, are you fucking kidding me? You mean to tell me with the gates closed, police everywhere, dogs and guns on the roof, what was welcoming about that at all? Did you send a representative out to come and tell us anybody that wants to come in that's a part of this could come in? None of that. But you gonna tell me that shit like I was born yesterday, like I got boo-boo the fool written on my face. And that was her response for how they reacted. Like, you ain't got no money to pay these people this money. How much did you spend on all that security? Like, that was one of the most disrespectful parts of the protest to me. And then you watch the black officers, they all wanted to be tough. Mm-hmm. Right? We get out to where he lived. The white officers are like, hey, we doing our job. We understand. Go ahead and take your flicks in front of his place, but then y'all gotta go, right? The black cops was like, yo, I wish you make a move. They want to come out in the streets and fight us because we out here fighting for our people. These is victims. Like, that was such, to me, a display of how disgraceful we are to one another. How is you as the police and y'all black more mad at us and these is victims saying this man owe us money? Like, just do your job and stand there. Like them fucking guards in front of the tower in the UK. Like, don't move, do your job, just stand there and shut the fuck up. But it's not your job. They was defending this man, talking shit to us like they mad at us because we protesting. One came out in the street, act like he was ready to fight. Like, this is what we dealt with when we got there from black police officers this man hired. And I'm telling you, I'm still not over them dogs. Nigga, you have dogs here? Are you finna release these dogs on us? But you talking about the black community and how you for us. You just went civil rights white people on us when you brought them dogs out. Maybe you had some water holes in the back too. I don't know. I was waiting for you to pull those motherfuckers out. That offended me to the fullest.
Hell, you know, I'm actually going through the whole legal process with him for the bad business deal he did with me that cost me over 6 figures in a loss already. You know, you hear this guy that talks about young Malcolm and all this pro-black stuff. He's wearing all these dashikis and all this African wear and all this bullshit. You'd be surprised when you get on a damn lawyer call and you're having a briefing, you see nothing but white faces. Goddamn, you know, I got nothing but black attorneys on my side over here.
They do exist. I'm saying you are in Georgia, bruh. You know, how do you not have a black attorney? You in Georgia.
Then I look on his side and there's nothing but white people. Then it looks, you know, when you look down at how he has it represented, he has Jay Morrison as a complainant, Tulsa Real Estate Fund as a complainant, and then the Jay Morrison Academy. And then I'm sure he's trying to figure a way to get the billing to be where he can use monies that's coming from
the fund to have to fight the case because he's saying you bringing the case against the company now.
Right. So you know, when you look at it, it's amazing. I hear all this pro-black and you funded all these black dollars. You see the rates that black people are getting. I mean, the rates are predatory. When you tell me that first and foremost, somebody has to come in and be an investor and then they got to come in and get these high-ass rates that they're foreclosing on. There's been several foreclosures on people who have borrowed money through this fund. And when you look at somebody that says that they created something to help black people, well, if you're creating something like that where like the black people that are actually funding and putting money and pouring into this fund can't even sustain to build their businesses because the rates are too high. The businesses and things aren't, you know, going to make money. It's not going to make sense. In addition to that, you literally right now have millions of dollars that are unaccounted for. Like you have investor meetings where people don't have any true transparency. You have people that have been told that they're going to get, you know, these dividends, and they come in and they're getting checks that are less than $20. I would be livid that I've invested thousands of dollars. 15. I've had people that send me checks anywhere between $12 and $17 or $20.
I heard they took a fee out of that too. It's like $2 out of each check.
There were fees that were taken out of that. I think it probably costs more to to print the checks and all that shit than it did
Right,
to
than it
actually,
did to write them.
In addition to that, if the fund's not making money, I'm not understanding how you can actually be giving any dividends in the first place. That don't make sense to me, because I remember last year that they had showed that they were in a loss, and then they actually had like another opening where they pulled in some more money, and then, you know, a few months later down the road, they're actually now doing a dividend. So I think like there's a lot of conflicts of interest. I see a lot of, you know, just misrepresentation of like what's happening with the funds. And then you got all these question marks about where people's money at. And when you look at it, you're still living your life like everything's good and dandy.
It's in their closet. They shopping at Dior.
You're still buying and spending, you know, luxury spends, where there's people that's like, hey, where's my $500? And this is one thing I tell people that really pisses me off is like, I see Ernestina and Jay, you know, represent like, hey, Tony was the hothead, and, you know, this is why we didn't do business with him. And I just ask simple questions, right? Because like, if you say that you didn't want to do business and you know that you pulled out of the event, some things were up for dispute, right? You can say that, hey, look, we still want to figure out the ticket sales and if I was supposed to give out the 50,000, but I paid them both as speakers, right? Never got my money back.
Even though they ain't do the speaking.
Even though you never showed up, even though you canceled, you collected my money, you spent thousands of dollars and you still owe me money. So when people say, why you call him a thief? I got very valid reasons on how you call. If I give you something, you don't deliver on it, and then you just go and keep living life like ain't shit happening, you just stole my shit. I think like it's really important for people to understand that this shit all comes from like people that speak and preach doing ethical business and pro-black shit, but yet they're doing unethical things to black people. When you hear you talk about Boyce Watkins is doing unethical shit to a black woman. When you hear my story of Jay Morrison is a guy that's doing unethical business to a black man, then not only just me, it's how many other people? How many other people have an exact similar story? When I talk about the Jay Morrison shit, I don't just talk about me. I bring in mention where this man's ex-wife mentions that he stole a ring in the middle of the night. I'm talking about, you know, having conversations with ex-girlfriends.
That's not the ring that Ernestine got on her finger.
No, I don't know if it was that. I ain't
I'm just asking.
No, I don't think that. No, I think she got her own ring. I ain't gonna do that. No,
Okay, he sold that one to buy yours.
I ain't gonna say none of that because I don't know that part.
I'm just asking. Shit, it's a valid question.
But what I do have is like, you know, business partners, you know, very similar stories. And then one of the ones that I think most people really got caught up last year when I shared it was the young guy that was trying to get off the streets, right?
Yeah.
So you had the young guy that was a street guy
trying
to clean up his life. He wanted to go in a different direction, and he found Jay, and Jay's story resonated with him. And this is a guy that Jay is saying he beat the streets. He used real estate. He used real estate to now clean his life up. So this guy says he, you know, looks up to Jay. He actually has a chance to meet him. And when he meets him, you know, Jay sells him on the idea of them working together, partnering up. And the guy gave Jay $50,000 in cash to do business, all under the table. This is his money to get off the streets. Mm-hmm. Jay never delivers. And then years go by of dismissing calls and trying to get in contact with him, and ultimately not being able to get the property that was supposed to be purchased, not being able to get any of the money back. And,
that's crazy. You just took $50,000 from a dude that was trying to clean his life up and get out the streets, and you claim you about the black community, and you just took his shit and you played him. Like $50,000 worth of street money ain't no real work. You just thought he was gonna make that shit again tomorrow, and then you just, like I said, he trying to be right, and you just sold him a dream you couldn't produce, and now that one bothered me too. Like you just seem like he find people to take advantage of that are in a position that they can't really say or do nothing about it. He like to find them people too because they're easier victims. Like what he gonna do? Go tell the police? No. Right? So this is why he do what he doing, and he go hide in them gated communities, because you can't fuck over street niggas and think you gonna be all right.
When I have so many people that come in new to my platform and they see this no refunds, no peace, and they hear me speaking so aggressively about it, and they see me so consistent about it, I want to let y'all know why this shit is so important to me. And I remember 4 years ago almost now, I was in jail. And as I was in jail, there was young guys that were looking for a new way to be able to live their life. There were guys that were, you know, finding themselves down the path of like destruction, going in and out of the legal system, going back and forth to jail. And I knew that a strategy that I had could help them go to another way. And one thing I realized as I built up my following is that how many people look up to what I do, how many people mirror what I am. And it gives hope to a lot of people. And I understand the responsibility that comes with that.
Absolutely.
When you have so many people that respect you on a level where they'll mirror what you do, they'll do, they believe that you can help them create that new life that they've always wanted. You're that image of something that they wanted to live. That young street nigga, I'm not gonna play you. And that's what Jay did. He played the guys that look up to what he had shared, that he had accomplished, right? And I got to put that with quotation marks because he hadn't accomplished shit but finessing people. When you got, people that look like you, that hope that they can become more than just being somebody on the street. I'm from North Philly originally. I know what my cousins, I know what the streets like, I know what it look like. I know walking down the street what the little crack vials look like in the street. I grew up around that shit. I know some people just need the opportunity to get out of that environment and be able to have something positive that they can look forward to and build on. And that's what he's stealing from people. Like when somebody says, hey, look, I'm trying to avoid and run away from this shit that has killed many of us, that has snatched fathers out of households, and now I want to do something positive, how the fuck dare you take that away? And that's why I'm so passionate.
On everybody else not keeping him in that place so he don't have to.
Because I understood when I was sitting in jail, I understood that if I could share people a strategy or give them the hope that they don't have to do that, I could maybe save them from losing their life or maybe your life or my family member's life. Because you got to think about it. A lot of times these dudes is doing shit out of desperation.
Let's talk about, let me tell you something. Majority of crime is bred out of poverty.
100%.
Right? So I'm telling you, all of that violence in our community, people want to talk about black on black crime, that's called poverty. That's what crime comes from. It's not about the race of our skin. This is why I don't like the term black on black crime. Because when you say that, it implies that there's something inherently in our DNA that because we're black, we commit those crimes. It has nothing to do with our race. It is the situations that we are put in because ghettos are created. And all of those crimes, from all of the drug abuse that people do, when you live in poor hurt. Poor don't feel good. You be hungry, you be not in a peaceful place, you ain't always got a place to rest your head. Home is not always what it should be. Like poor don't feel good. People would take drugs, they would take alcohol to get away from that. So you can attribute that to that. There ain't no brother standing on the corner selling no drugs, toting a gun, worrying about his life every day. If he could get the hell up off this corner and live legitimately and not be in this situation, but still live a life that is not in this hood or not being hungry or not being able to keep a roof over his head or clothes on his back or taking care of his daughter or maybe helping his mama pay rent. Nobody wants to be in the hood doing that. When a motherfucker run up on you with a mask and a gun and they want your bag, that's because they got bills to pay.
That's it.
They want to eat. Shit. And so you're right. Poverty breeds so much crime that if you could deal with folks being in poverty and you could show some folks how to make some money and get up out of that, the crime that they commit would stop. Nobody wants to be a criminal. Nobody wants that shit.
And that's why I get so fucking passionate about this no refunds, no peace. And what really, I've heard as far as these victim stories, because, the average black man makes $34,000 a year. The average black woman makes $31,000 a year.
And that's nothing.
So if you start talking about taking away, from in the thousands from people that can't afford to lose anything, because every dollar is so critical to living. Like when somebody invests into a program, when somebody buys you a course or something like that, a lot of times they thinking in the back of their mind, this shit must work. Yeah. This is my only way. This is my hope. Answer. This is my way out. So when I come with a program or if I come with something, I understand somebody might be like, I'm taking a fucking flyer and this shit gotta work for me or else. And there's so many people that don't understand the responsibility that comes behind that. Their only focus is, hey, let me make the next dollar so I can get more and more and more and more, where you're completely alienating the people that you're supposed to be supplying and uplifting. See, a lot of times, like people will say, hey, Tony, you got $1,000, $2,000 course. Your shit is expensive. And I'll be very, very mindful what I tell people, because I think people get the difference between charging and like what you deliver as two different things, right? What you charge and what you deliver are two different things. And a lot of times people don't have a complaint about the money. It's about the delivery. When you hear all the shit with Jay, it's about the fact that they buy a program and they didn't even get delivered. It wasn't what they were expecting. Somebody completely once the money came in, the rest of it was like, hey, I'm out of here. And what I talk about is I wanted to really create something for when I put out a product or service or whatever, that I put my shit on it. Everything I got, I go for, like I say, it's lifetime. Every single week I'm live with my people, because at the end of the day, I know the points of contact is what's gonna make somebody stay consistent. I understand that when you get into business, we're really right now at a stage where most of these guys don't know shit. It's amazing, and people, when I'm having conversations on a live, they're not even familiar with what equity is. They don't understand what a mortgage is. I'm like, yo, I gotta add more shit to my program, because financial literacy is something that we really I took for granted because I grew up around people that were educated.
But that's the thing, when you're trying to take advantage of your customers, you're constantly revamping what you do, your business, you know, to talk like business people, to make sure that your customers are satisfied. What can you continue to add? And that's what you're supposed to do. Like when I do my classes, I do surveys because I want to know what could I have done better. You know what I'm saying? What do I need to tweak? Like that's just real business. When you care about your customers, you don't have to stress over the money. Do your customers right and the money gonna come. I feel you on that. You got to really take a look at that. Like if you have a business, your business, the crux of it and how successful it is only the root of how happy your customers are.
With saying how happy your customers are, the first thing that you talk about is the F rating on Better Business Bureau.
How do you get an F rating? I heard that was hard to do.
How the fuck do you have an F rating on the Better Business Bureau? The J. Morrison Academy has an F rating on the Better Business Bureau. That's important to understand, right? Because at the end of the day, you guys can all Google, you can look it up and you can read some of the complaints. But if you're not able to even respond or deliver on products that you're still continuously selling to this day, how ethical are you?
It means ultimately none of his customers, I don't give a damn if it's 99.9999% is not satisfied with this motherfucker. That's what that means, right? So obviously you're in the wrong business, but he's in the right because he's not really in the business of real estate. He's in the business of scamming. So his business runs just like it should.
I want to talk about another topic. We talked about it offline. I got arrested a couple months ago here in Miami, and I got arrested for being black.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about the perception of black people. We know how we do each other. You saw the video already, so you're going to come from a different perspective because you've seen the full video. Yeah. But from when I originally posted the video of me getting arrested, people heard my mom's voice. They seen the clip from basically when I'm laid on the ground, and then they hear like kind of the chaos and all the shit that kind of transpires behind the scenes. And what people kept hearing my mom say is that he didn't even do anything. Like, he just got out of the car, he didn't even do anything. And people always say, like, from my community, everybody's always innocent. Nobody ever does anything. Like, you just literally just get picked on.
Statistics actually say that black people are innocent a lot. So I don't know what y'all talking about. Like, they are the most exonerated group. And statistics also says they are the largest group of people who actually are coerced into taking probation and shit like that. So why y'all talking like, yeah, actually, black folks are accused of shit they don't do a lot. Those are facts.
I'm gonna show you guys the video, and then I just talk about from a mindset of like where I feel like, first and foremost, we got a lot of people that always show and broadcast black trauma. Mm-hmm. Deshaun Kings, most notably. Somebody's died, or somebody's gotten disrespected, somebody's got called a nigger. And, you know, we're going to launch in this whole task force to go find Becky from South Colorado so we can get her fired from her fucking job.
Becky in South Colorado. Right? I was just there, no.
You know, Sean goes out and puts out like these full-on slots of like, let's go get rid of the person that disrespected or called somebody a nigga or spit on somebody at a restaurant or whatever, right? Now, for me personally, like, he follows me. Mm-hmm. Now, I go through this traumatic experience. I see my mom all over the place, and I see him in the comments say, "I'm there for you, bro," or some bullshit like that, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, I'm looking around, I'm watching other people that I thought were friends and supported me, not bring up or not post and reshare to bring attention to something that was literally my civil rights being violated, which could happen to any one of us. And I think this is what's really important is a lot of people don't give a fuck until it happens to them. I'm gonna actually show everybody the actual full video so they can see the breakdown, but this is simply like no simpler than driving while black. Actually being parked while black.
Yeah, you weren't even driving.
I wasn't even moving, so being parked while black, and the lack of support, and I feel like the fake love. What are you guys really agenda? Did I have to die that day? Is what I always ask.
For them to post it, yeah.
Did
You needed to almost die, get shot, or either be beat.
And then I think a little deeper, because I start thinking about relationships, and then I say, oh, you cool with Jay Morrison.
Yeah.
So I noticed like the Tamika Mallory's and all these people that be all over all these stories.
They all hang together. All of them. Crump, Tamika Mallory, Charlamagne, Dr. Watkins. They all in the clique. What Kwame called them to go along to get along gang? That includes Sean King.
So then it's like, oh shit. So y'all not gonna support something of a clear civil rights violation because I'm calling out somebody that's a known scammer that's taking advantage of black people. Mm-hmm. So now y'all not gonna support a real issue. You're gonna turn a blind eye to something that's really happening. And we see it right now. I've seen multiple people in Miami that have had their rights violated in the past few months. Rappers, influential black people. It's something that's going on around here, but because no bullets have been put into nobody or anything like that, it's been pushed under the rug.
Y'all videos are not sensationalized enough. That's a part of it too. The Jay thing might be one thing. The Jay thing might be one thing, but I would tell you another part of it is that your video was not sensational enough. Like enough didn't happen to you for them to post it. That's why they didn't ride with it either. Because had something really bad happened to you, they would have posted it anyway, regardless
of
who
something really bad happened to me.
No, what I mean by like if you got shot, it wasn't bad enough for them.
Being
it was
arrested
bad
and handcuffed and embarrassed in front of people, is that
not
enough?
No, not for them. You needed to get beat up and have your jaw broken like a Rodney King. You needed to be shot or be dead for them.
I gotta get beat up. Me being kidnapped in front of my family isn't enough. Kidnapped in front of my family. Like, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You just violated my rights. You just reached into my property. Like, what is happening right here? And nobody says shit. I'm sitting back and I'm like, yo, what type of world do we live in that nobody says shit?
It wasn't sensational enough. It wouldn't have brought enough views. If you go look at the things they do show attention to, they only show it when it's gotten to that extent. And the truth is, what happened to you is where the fuck it begins. That's how these stories start and play out, where you have these dead black men by the police.
Mechee, what people don't realize, and once y'all see the actual video, what you'll realize is the only fucking reason that I wasn't probably a hashtag that y'all was gonna remember for a week and then forget, just like y'all forgot about this shit already, because a lot of people already forgot about it, right?
I keep telling you to forget about it.
Like, then when I reposted, somebody tell me, you still dealing with it? You motherfucking right, I'm still dealing with it.
Right.
That's the shit that like now when I go out, I gotta wonder like, hey, look, am I straight? I complied so quickly, I took away his ability to fuck me over. Right. Like, when you watch the video, the one thing that you'll realize is I complied so quickly, I took away his ability to fucking try to do something to me. Because I knew what he wanted. Like, from the time that he approached me, he's like pointing his finger and all this shit in my chest. I'm looking at him like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you literally talking about right now, man? I'm not even moving. I'm sitting in my fucking car, like, and I think a lot of times, motherfuckers don't care until it happens to them. But to listen to my mom's voice, when I got out of jail and I heard my fucking mom's voice, I'm fucking livid. Because at the end of the day, what if she has a stroke? What if they now make my mom have a fucking heart attack because you just scared her to fucking death by kidnapping her son that literally didn't do jack shit, but get out of a car and I was black?
I'm sure the first thing that came to her mind was when he came out there, had you get on the ground and took the gun and pulled stuff out. I'm sure that her thought was, is my son gonna die today? Because as black mothers, that's what we think. Whenever the police come around, I'm a black mother. I've had the police roll up. You know what I'm saying? When me and my son was younger, and he in the yard, and I'm like, if you don't get your little crazy teenage ass in this house, and the white people across the street won't call the police. And when you see them pulling up, I don't care that I'm arguing with you right now. I'm gonna need you to calm down, baby, because these motherfuckers coming here don't give a care about none of us. And the first thing that hits your mind is, are they gonna kill my son today? So I'm sure that's what your mother thought. That's what I thought when I heard her voice in the video that you let everybody see. But seeing it from the back end and everything that happened, I just feel like people don't understand how important what happened to you was to see it in the manner of what it really is. Like, if you can be minding your business, you wasn't doing anything wrong. Homie was standing over there. I think he was just angry that you was black and you lived the way that you lived, and he just came over there to bother you for no reason. That was an officer exhorting his authority that I'm a police officer over you, sir, just because I can.
He was saying that you still a nigga. That was what he was saying. You still a nigga.
Yeah, he's trying to remind you of that. No matter what car you got, I'm gonna come lay you on the ground. You just a rich nigga, but you a nigga. This is what he wanted to teach you. And that is the definition of domestic terrorists. Like I told you last night, police are a gang. Okay, if you, I got a degree in criminal justice. If anybody has ever gone to school for criminal justice, in criminal justice 101, they teach you off the rip something called the blue wall of silence, right? Which is basically the code that police have that says we don't snitch on each other. So they tell you to your face what the police are. They are basically a gang, right? But when you talk about terrorism, it's because you don't have anybody to call the police on. So their lawlessness and the way that they abuse their authority, and at any given moment they can cause terror. Your mother was terrified of what was happening. You had to be put down on the ground in that moment. He just, regardless you're a free man, you broke no rules, he can just make you do what he wants you to do because I can. That is called terror. And that's exactly what they are. They are the biggest domestic terroristic gang in the United States of America. And if we begin to call them what they are, maybe we can really see why it's such a problem to have them around. Your situation is how all of them start. And it could have very quickly escalated to you being killed, you being hurt, and something being taken away from you more precious than just them taking you to jail for a little while. All of these black men and kids that get, this is how this starts, by police overstepping their bounds and doing shit you don't have any right to do. So that's where it starts. So I don't understand why people are looking at that situation. And let me say, because we were talking about this last night, about the gun thing. Folks think you shouldn't have a gun.
Perfect.
What's wrong with that?
I was about to bring that up. What I really wanted to press on is many people, when they watched the video, the first thing that people said was like, why did you go to the trunk? Why did you have a gun? Things of that nature.
Why don't you have a gun is my question to people.
That's the first thing I'm gonna say is, why don't you have a gun? When we see a black male with a gun, we always associate it with a criminal or somebody doing something that's negligent or illegal. And you should have the right to, your Second Amendment right to bear arms. And I think, you know, what I was doing was, what I did do was all within my Second Amendment rights. I'm not a felon. I have a clean record. My gun's, you know, registered. I was with my family. My gun was legally registered. It was in the protective area. It was literally nothing that had happened that was illegal. And what he did was he tried to do something that you know wouldn't happen to the guy that has his rifle in the back of his pickup truck.
Right.
He reached inside of my vehicle and pulled my gun out, and now use that as a way to falsely detain me and hold me against my will, and then literally arrest me. And I tell people all the time, I read those comments and it was so frustrating for people that didn't know that, first and foremost, you can legally carry a firearm. The first thing I really encourage people is to get informed on how and where you can carry firearms, the states that you live in. Get a firearm, because right now, every white person you walk by, I guarantee you, they probably strapped.
They like, kids got them, the baby got one.
Everybody, you know, we are at a time right now where so many people look at guns in a negative light. And it's really telling where when we see each other with a gun, it's automatically assumed that's something that was negative. And it pissed me the fuck off because, you know, now when people look at that image, it goes, well, oh, he goes from bothering you to, oh, why you even got a gun in the first place? Like, now I'm looked at, I'm like, what? I'm confused. Like, y'all now have turned this situation into, why did I even go there? Because I was doing something in the wrong, or like, I'm not supposed to have a firearm?
See, but you know what that is? That's the conditioning of us as black people. Let me give everybody that's watching right now this little test right here. When you scroll down your feed and you see a gang of young black people holding guns, what is your initial reaction? Your initial reaction for most of y'all is, why is they on here with all these guns being ghetto? Like, see why we gotta do this and be online with guns everywhere and showing everybody what you got. But then you will scroll down your timeline and you will see a crispy white family with their wife, with their teenagers, with their kids, and everybody got a gun. And the first thing come to your mind is they patriotic, right? They about their rights. It is everybody's right in this country to arm themselves. And the fact that so many other people other than black people arm themselves, why shouldn't we be armed? See, this is the thing. We have that stigma on it. Oh, we got all this gun violence in the community. So let's be clear. Guns don't just kill people. It's the ignorant motherfuckers behind the gun that actually do this, right? Nobody's saying, oh boy, look at the white guy who lost his scruples and then he went in there and shot up all the Walmart because he mad because his day wasn't going right. It's the person behind the gun. Don't let nobody ever make you believe you shouldn't have a gun. I believe every black man, woman, and child should have a gun, right? Because you can have a gun and be a child. But go get trained with your gun. Learn how to use it. Understand that it is a weapon. Understand if you pull it out, you should intend to know that you're going to kill a motherfucker. So don't just pull it out for anything, right? But we shy away from that a lot. And we have this stigma in our own mind that black people should not have guns and guns are bad for us. Let me tell you something. If the shit ever hit the fan, what you going to do? What you gonna do? Like, how many of y'all wish I had some guns in Katrina when all of that crazy stuff was going on with the natural disaster? You know, whether it's a natural disaster, whether it's political shit, whether it's an uprising, the ghettos and our communities are the first to feel the brunt of that. And when police ain't coming because it's a natural disaster, when shit ain't going on, who gonna protect you? Everybody want to talk about this race war finna happen. Well, if it happened, white folks finna kill us all in 25 minutes. It's gonna be over because according to us, we should not have any guns. When Corona hit, you know what the white people did? We was at the grocery store in the line. The white folks was waiting for the bullets to show up at the gun shop. All the white folks in Colorado was at the gun store. It was long lines. Like y'all was waiting for toilet paper, they was waiting on bullets. So my question would be, why they go get all these bullets? You should be mindful. Everybody else got one. That's why the fuck you should have one.
That's a major piece right there, is understanding that, you know, they strapped. They weren't worried about getting no fucking toilet paper. They were going to the fucking
they got toilet paper.
Our community, we got to be very mindful of something. When you see most things happen where people are going to having gun violence and things of that nature, it's typically happening where people are defenseless, where they can't go and defend themselves because they don't have weapons. People don't go and have a mass shooting at a place where people are heavily armed. They go where places where people are defenseless and they won't be able to do anything but just be a victim when that person comes in with an assault rifle and start shooting like fish in a barrel.
Wasn't it that last one or one of those last ones that happened? There was actually a man who was legally armed in the Walmart and he was able to stop the shooter from killing everybody because he was a legally armed citizen. It's your right. He put out his gun and he took homie out. So he was able to save a lot of people. So I don't know why we think that's a conditioning. Black folk, they want us to think guns are bad because actually as black people, you should have guns, but learn how to use them, you know?
You know, I think we've had like a hell of a talk. We hit some real dope topics. It's important to make sure you make it home at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The last piece I read that really was bothersome to me is I seen a lot of young guys like, you know, talking about what they would have done if the police had approached them in that same manner. And let me tell y'all something, man. Your pride, and I understand being young and not wanting to take shit from anybody, but your pride can get you killed, and it will get you killed. I think as having a platform as large as I have, it's my responsibility to talk about keeping it real. I understood that I had 2 young boys. I got a mother, I got 3 sisters. I got nieces and nephews that all are looking for their uncle. And you have to start thinking about what else do you have and what's worth it, right? A lot of our decisions are typically, you know, less than 10 to 15 seconds, and that quick split-second decision can be the rest of your life. I promise you, I'm thankful, more proud that I'm able to share my message today than to have been right and to whoop that officer's ass or to try to take my gun back. And now there had been a struggle that ensued, and now there's something that was beyond what was repairable, right? Because at the end of the day, I don't want you guys to ever end up in a situation you're in something that's not repairable and your life is lost and your family is having to, you know, bury you. And we know how quickly in a police altercation shit can escalate. And what I want you to pay attention to when you watch the video is how, even though I knew that I was in the right, and I even said it verbally, hey, I'm gonna sue you and you're breaking the law and violating my civil rights, I still complied and got my ass on the ground. I still made sure that my mother wasn't gonna have to bury me based off me making a wrong action or moving too quickly or doing something that might have startled these officers that are already looking for a way to be able to take us out. So I really want to make that perfectly clear that let's make it home at the end of the day. And I remain calm because I understand that in those situations, it's better to think clearly than to be reactionary. So many of us want to be right and we want to be like, you know, fuck you, you're violating me and I want to, you know, fight. But to me, more importantly, is to make sure that I don't escalate this situation to something that makes it to where he's now reaching for a taser and he's now accidentally shot me with his gun. You know, like
I guess a great way to even say that would be this. They looking for a reason.
They're looking for a reason.
Don't get him one. Is what you say. Don't give him one because they looking for one. They waiting for a reason.
And when people say they're looking for a reason, you being black is already a reason.
Yeah, enough. But they want a reason to be able to say, I thought he reached for something. They want a reason to justify why they finna shoot you or why they finna beat you down. You know what I'm saying? they want you to give them a reason, so they looking for, how can I justify this, right? Because they want to do it.
And I just want to make sure people understand longevity, having the ability to be able to go home and love on your loved ones is always better than being a real one. And I'm seeing too many young black lives lost over senseless crimes and being real ones. I'm sick and tired of seeing this shit. I know the mothers are sick of burying their sons over stupidity. Man, listen, I've created, a program. Meeche has programs that help you make money, be financially astute, help you, get on a track to be able to really do other things. There's better ways out here than risking your life and doing things that's going to just end up in the graveyard or in jail. I'm hoping that, today's live was impactful. I hope that, the value between what I shared and what Meeche gave you was like super informative. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to Meeche for taking the time. She's been here with me since last night. I really, really support what you stand for. I think as a woman in this community, a black woman in this community, I want you to know that you are supported and I got your back. There's too many times where I know like people feel like they don't have any support, and I wanted to make sure I publicly shared that. I ride with you. You roll with me and I ride with you.
I appreciate that. That is true. Ever since I felt that. Like if anybody got my back, I know it's you. And so I appreciate that, and I thank you for inviting me out here. It's the first time I've ever been to Miami. I ain't got no time to hang out. I got to hop on the plane in a minute, because I'm busy. But I appreciate you, and I always got your back in every perspective, and I even like beat a bitch up. Just let me know. No, from Detroit, that's what you do. My brother ain't supposed to be out here fighting women. Like if she done violated, I'll violate her for you. But anyway, what I'm saying, just leave my brother alone. But I don't care what nobody say. Like, yeah, anger is always, to me, indignation. It's righteous anger, right? Like you have a reason to feel the way you feel. You have a reason to be the way you are. You're not just out here messing with people. People come messing with you, But I know that you are a genuine person. You're a good person. And I've watched not only you pull up at niggas' houses and post my house, right? You the pull up king. I don't care what nobody say, right? And I've seen you take those approaches. I've also watched you help people when it ain't even your plight to have to do so. I've watched you come out of your pocket, and not even the stuff that everybody see publicized. And it's not even about coming out your pocket. Sometimes that's what people need, but it's about making sure people have what they want in life and they need to have, right? It's not even the money. Like if you about to be evicted, it take money, but I'm gonna make sure you good and you ain't on the streets. And you don't have to do those things for people, but you do. You do it in the forefront, but behind the scenes you do a lot too that people don't even know about. So for me, can't nobody ever come say nothing bad to me about you, because I watch the person you are, and your actions speak so much louder than any words anybody could say. And when you're a good person like that, people will try and take advantage of you. They will try to use you, and see, they think you nice until you not. And what they don't know is, see, that's really the truth. People come across you and they be like, yo, he a good guy. They do me the same way. They be like, yo, he a really good guy. And in there they think they can take advantage. But then when you be like, but you really don't know me, and why did you do me this way? Then when they unleash that beast that's inside of you, then they want to put it back in the box. But you don't open the box. You can't close this box. Now, you should have just had some integrity. I dealt with you in integrity. Why you disrespect me and not give me integrity back? And so I ain't never mad at that, So 100%. Let me say that publicly too. I always got your back, and I've always appreciated you and everything you've done from day one. I mean, you are one of the brothers. Tony would hit me up and be like, just checking on you. He always checking on me. And, it's just nice to know that if there's anything I ever really needed, and I don't ask for shit, I know that I could be like, yo, I need help with this, or look, and I know that you always concerned about my well-being and have my back. So I appreciate that. I do. You one of the real ones. There ain't too many out there.
Y'all better go tap in with Mechee X right now. If you see her outside, anywhere, y'all better say what's up to her. Make sure you support her. I just want to really, give her flowers. I mean,
thank you.
Really about the people, really pouring into the people. And I don't keep up with everything because I be kind of like in my own zone. Just know I'm always like rocking it, and I'm gonna support you. So finally, y'all, I'm gonna play the original arrest video, and then I'm gonna show you the actual video of what happened so you can get the full context.
Okay, get back up. Sir, I need you to go over here. Stand behind. And I'm gonna figure that out. I'm gonna figure that out.
Tony, be quiet. Tony, stop talking. Stop talking.
Everything you're doing is right.
Stop talking.
That's illegal what you're doing right
Stop
now.
talking,
You
Tony.
said I couldn't accelerate when the car is
Okay, stop talking.
Fine. Don't talk, stay there, right? Listen to your sister, listen to your sister.
Man, it's straight bullshit. Cause the officer came and confronted him. He ain't say nothing to that damn man.
People wasn't expecting that shit, right? So when I talk about literally nothing happening, like from the time I actually pulled into the lot, this guy approaches me like it was nothing to happen. Like there was no moment of like I wasn't spinning my tires. I wasn't, like you can look at how everybody's moving. Nobody's looking at me. Like there's literally, it's not like you would look at a crowd of people like, yo, what the fuck happening over here? Like
no, nobody was even looking in your direction.
Yeah, everybody just going about their day. And then this dude looks over at me and decides he's gonna come fuck with me. And not only fuck with me, but then he goes to the extent of like reaching inside my vehicle and taking a weapon out. Now, why people don't understand why this is a big problem is they're already trying to take away guns from black men already. Most people don't get how the system works. Like most people don't have finances or the resources to be able to bond out and all that shit. So what happens is a lot of people start going through the system. They get you in there with a crazy ass bond. You ready to go home. Took a plea deal on some bullshit. Now they done got you with a felony the way they done took away your ability to have and carry a firearm.
And that's any felony. It doesn't even have to involve a firearm.
Right. They're looking for ways to try to snatch firearms away from us at an alarming rate, and they do it by being strategical. This guy looked at me in the state of Florida where this is the fucking wild, wild west when it comes to firearms. Like this isn't like we were in like New York where, it
can't have a gun, right.
This is in an area where you have, known cases of stand your ground laws and things of that nature.
We have a lot of them here.
And in the state of Florida. And for somebody to literally go and reach inside of my vehicle, pull out my firearm, then demand me to get it on the ground, and then in addition to that, to be off duty.
Right.
This is an off-duty officer that just literally violated my rights. And there could have been, if I just would have snatched my arm back and said, you better get the fuck, or snatch my gun back or whatever, now we could be in a whole different situation. If you look at even how he approached me, like he was like pointing his finger, he was all up in my face. He was like, if you want some attention, I'm gonna give you attention.
Which is crazy because he's the security guard, right?
He's security guard.
So being a security guard, his job is to have something to say if you're doing something to the establishment. The people in the establishment didn't have a problem. He's like, oh, you want attention? Like, this is a fancy hotel. We all got Lambos. I think we all want attention in this one. Don't you see us?
Right.
I think he's mad because he worked there and he can't stay there. But again, if you weren't doing
But it was
anything,
the white boys that just went right in front of me, Meeche.
That's what I'm saying.
Had a Lambo right in front of me.
If you weren't disturbing the establishment, he's not there to be a police officer. He's there to be a security guard for the place. You are someone staying there. So there was no reason for him to come at you as a customer staying there, especially if you weren't doing anything that was causing problems to the establishment. That was his only job that day. So let's be clear about that too. He's a fucking security guard in that moment. You're not a police officer, sir. You're a security guard.
And I think what was more troubling to me, well, not more troubling, which it troubled me as well, is the fact that I'm watching the hotel act as security and pushing and telling my mom and my sisters to stand back. I'm a patron. I just paid you over 50, 60 grand to stay in this bitch. Right. Like, I'm paying almost $3,000+ a night. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So it's so many layers to what we witness here, where there's crowds of people now watching me lay on the ground, embarrassing me, making it look like, I've committed a crime.
I think his comment really, really speaks to what that was about. He said, oh, you want some attention? I'm going to show you some attention. Right. So because you pull up, he think you flashy. The reason you need attention, because it's okay for white people. I want y'all to understand the psychology in that. All these white people rolling up in Lambos, all these white folks rolling around with all this money up in there, that's not them trying to get attention. But when a black man show up that way, or you trying to get some attention, I'm going to give you some. And he did that purposely. That's to embarrass you. That's why he did it. That's what his statement meant. I'm going to embarrass you. Then I'm going to have everybody looking at you. This is why he had you get on the ground. This is why he did all of those things.
You know what's crazy? Come look at this image right here, Meeche. I'm laid on the ground and the white guy that's in his Lambo, he's pulling off.
Right.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. He ain't say nothing to the white boys. And if you look at everybody's face, you're not disturbing people because nobody seems startled by anything you're doing. They're just going about their business.
You look at the Lambo pulling off and you look at me and I'm on the ground. I want you guys to see this from the beginning because it's important to look at how everybody else is sitting here and chilling. Nobody ever looks at my car. Nobody looks at me like, what the hell is going on? You can look at the people over here. You can watch
but that's
everybody.
my point. If you was revving your engine so much, it was disturbing the people there. How come nobody is paying? They're not disturbed. Nobody was disturbed.
Nobody's looking at me. Nobody's like, what the hell is going on? At anywhere, nowhere.
And he just angry. He got on a mask and he got a job. Look at him. Broke ass police officer. He mad as hell.
Look, there's nobody looking at me. There's nobody look. There's no nothing that's going on.
Valet opening
When he first
your
approached me,
Yeah, you see valet open doors and everything. Everything was normal as fuck.
on something like just like, hey, nice car.
Watch how he gets in my face though.
And I'm looking like, oh, he's not.
Look at his
He's
hands.
serious.
Look how you towering over. How you towering over him though? Look.
You see how I'm towering over him on purpose? Like, yeah, you talking to a grown man. I do shit like that on purpose with my body positioning.
Look how he waving his hands at me and all that shit.
Well, he couldn't
like,
do nothing to you
like,
physically,
he's
so he
older than me
used
or
his
something.
badge that day. Seconds after he tells you, you want some attention, I'm gonna give you some. Now you on the ground.
When I first originally had posted the video and people were seeing this shit, one thing that really bothered me, and like I said earlier, was the lack of attention that this got from people that are supposed to be about us. This is a prime example of even being successful and doing all the right things, not being the problem of how you can have your rights violated. And I got lucky. I made it home. I had the resources, I had the money to be able to get my ass out. I had my sister and my mom there available to protect me. But it's not going to always be where somebody can be as fortunate as I was in this exact situation. And I think that we got to understand that it's a reason that we need to bring shit like this to the forefront and to the light, is because if there's no protection or understanding, this won't be tolerated, then people will continuously do this to us. And in addition to that, there's not going to be education on what you can do if in these type of situations. Like, what should your reaction be? How do you properly manage an officer confrontation where, you know that you're being violated even though you haven't broken any laws. I mean, I'm sitting there as a law-abiding citizen. I'm a patron of the hotel. You can clearly see nobody's bothered by anything that I'm doing. Like, there's no, when you look at the video, it's telling of that. And I'm still in a situation where I end up getting fucking arrested. Like, I'm locked up, and there's so many people that I want to just get this in front of, first and foremost, because I want the one hotel to be responsible. I want Officer Sergeant Bello of the Miami Beach Police to be responsible. I want Miami Beach Police to be responsible, because this shit happens to so many people that don't have what I have as far as a platform and the resources that don't get heard. I was sitting in jail that night and I'm listening to guys that were literally being bullied by police officers because it was a wild weekend in Miami, so the police started cracking down and just pushing on people that were of color. And there's a lot of guys that were out of town that don't have money, so they're getting stuck in fucking jail or, in bad situations because they came to have a good time, and now they're being confronted with shit that they can't get out of because these guys want to unleash their anger on black people. I know what they thought when they saw me. I know he assumed rental. He assumed, this is a nigga that's probably out of town that don't have anything for himself, and he just, showing off in front of people. I know what he was hoping. Or at least that's what he's probably hoping. And I want to now make sure that him and everybody that's responsible gets what they supposed to get. And that's fucking me. Because I'm just the same way I pulled up on Jay. I want the one hotel to fill it. I want that Sergeant Bello bitch ass to fill it. He thinks that he can go around and pick on people like that. I listened to my mom's voice and it almost made me cry again. Because it makes you relive being in a moment where we don't know what's going to happen when our families are put in these situations. Like, it could have been this officer now, pulls his trigger. He accidentally, whatever. Every single police interaction can be a life or death situation for black men and women. And we've seen it in the last year. And I just wanted to make sure that we really kind of...
I want to say an aspect that I see, I guess I would want to say from what happened to you, is one, that when we begin to talk about police and police brutality and all of the reform that we're asking for, since everybody seems to be in love with the political man we put in office, I won't say I didn't vote for his ass, but, he's not doing anything for anybody. Understand when we talk about the politics of it all, is that I don't want to hear any type of a person up there talking about they force if they're not talking about real police reform, because even the FBI has stated that in their investigating that the police departments have been infiltrated. I'm gonna say that word again, infiltrated. Our own government has told us this, by white supremacists. So you have people who are in there who also want to use that they go become a police officer because they know they can get away with bullshit, right? Mm-hmm. The second thing that I think that I realized from looking at all of this is that I want people to realize you can't buy your way out of the racism in this country, right? Mm-hmm. Because I think so many people think that if you just get out the hood, and you think if you go somewhere better, you go live around some white folks, or you do some things like this, or you make a big name for yourself, or these rappers think they done made it out of somewhere. The truth of the matter is you can't buy your way out of the racism in this country, right? So I don't care how rich you are, there will always come a moment that there will be somebody or something in this country that will remind you, you are a nigga. Mm-hmm. And that's just the truth. So I think that we need to understand, and not on a superficial level of keep making it seem like, oh, if we just gain some wealth, oh, if we just build our communities, oh, if we just build up these things, then guess what? Black people can change if we take accountability and we change our communities. Yes, but that's only one aspect of it. And when you look at the other side of it, that's only a small piece, because the oppression that sits in this country is on a governmental level. It's about the systems and the structures, and you can't buy your way out of that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I see when I look at you. Like, a lot of people think, oh, if you make it, you ain't got to go through that stuff. But you're a perfect example to show you don't. Actually, you become more of a target if you make it, because they don't want to see black men like you, especially people who are not black and they don't have what you have. In this country, you don't deserve that if they don't have it first, right? So those are the two things I think that stand out to me in all of that. And we should probably take away from that situation, as well as the fact you have the right to have a gun. We shouldn't have seen it that way. And that these situations, they start like this, and then they escalate to something else. So all of these leaders, like you said, Shaun King and everybody else, if they was really out here fighting for what was real, they would see the value in this, but they would also be more focused on all of these things instead of telling you, let's protest, let's march. Those things don't work, y'all. They do not work. Matter of fact, the government has given you that tactic and you think it's our idea to protest. No, they told you to do that, right? That's called conditioning, and you run to the streets. It ain't changing shit and they don't care. All you do is burn down your community, and guess what you do? You're priming your community for gentrification so they can come in 10 years later and buy all those abandoned buildings for nothing, push your ass out and clean it up. So, these things go a lot deeper than we really care to look at. So when I see your situation, I see that shit in so many different facets, right? But it's definitely something that needs to be looked at, And like you said, you're the only person that can do it to this extent. Most of them brothers you with, they can't. They just be in jail and be locked up, lose their job, can't get home, be in there for a couple months over a petty thing. So either you're going to take probation and plead guilty if you want to get the fuck out of here, or you're going to sit here for forever waiting to go through a speedy trial. Trials are never speedy. That's a lie. So... it's some bullshit. And that's my thoughts on it. That's the other side of the takeaway I think I would want to throw out there for people to kind of think about when they're looking at what happened to you.
Shout out to Mechee, y'all. Like, this has been a couple hours of Mechee X unlocked. This video will be posted on YouTube. I'll make sure you know exactly where to go find Mechee at. I'll tag her in this as well at the bottom. Make sure you support Mechee. See you outside. Pull up, say what's up to her, and I'm talking about make sure y'all protect her. This lady is amazing, super, super dope. We getting hella love in the comments. Everybody rocking with you, Mechee.
Much love to y'all, back.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This has been a couple hours, really.
I know.
And she is the effing truth, the motherfucking truth, Mechee X. And I'm gonna tag her when I say this live. Y'all tapping with her, all right? Peace.